I met Steve, a 45-year-old man, a few weeks ago. He seemed like a rich man, looked like he was hit by a truck. He looked like shit. He came and asked me to investigate if his wife, Rebecca, is cheating on him. He handed an envelope. It had a picture of his wife, her phone number, her car's registration number, and $10,000 in cash. I was shocked, but happy. I got to work. I followed Rebecca like a shadow. She was a beautiful woman, curves at the right place. I was amazed at her beauty given she had 3 kids. She was slender, tall, and she was awesome. I soon found her lover, Jonathan Green, rich, handsome, tall, married. Yep, he was married and had kids. In all my years, I never understood why women fall for married men. No one ever fell for me. I met Steve and asked him for installing a spyware on his wife's phone. I shared some pictures of his wife with her lover. He looked sad but could see something else in his eyes. He looked like a man who has nothing to lose. It was not good. I don't want him to do anything rash. I shared my concern with him. What he said was stone cold. He said if he kills his wife, it's over. She must live and face life. She cannot die. Even if she wants to, I will not let her die. I want her to lay on her bed every night and keep her eyes open and wait for the Grim Reaper to come and get her. A few days had passed. The call recordings and photographs were enough to get a peaceful divorce. So far, they have been getting intimate in the safety of an apartment that Jonathan's wife owned. It was a difficult task to rig that apartment. I had to get them out of there. I spoke to Steve. He had connections. He then came up with an idea. He went ahead and arranged a meeting with Maria, Jonathan's wife. Just a little background on Maria's family. Her father is known to have connections with the local mafia. Her brother is a district judge. Her younger brother is a boxer. I was a bit hesitant, but we met her and placed all the evidence on the table for her. She did not cry, did not show any emotions. She made a phone call. She hung up and then asked Steve, "What do you want?" Steve looked at her and said, "They must pay." She said they will. I explained that the lovers are using her apartment. She stated that in next 30 minutes that apartment will be occupied by my younger brother. She made a phone call and then looked at us and stated, "It's done." She stated that she will first divorce her husband and then let her father deal with him personally. The lovers had no clue of what is coming for them. Next day, while going through the call recordings, I found that they had booked a hotel room on the outskirts of the city. I informed Steve. He sent me another $5,000 and stated, "Do what you have to do. I just want to get even." I did some digging and found their booked room 2 days prior to their supposed meeting. I paid the manager $1,500 to let me rig the room with hidden cameras and mics. The stage was all set. I was in the next room with my monitor and listening devices plugged into a cloud server. I started recording the moment the lovers entered the room. There were animals. As soon as the room service left, they pounced on each other. I sent a link for the live stream to Steve. He forwarded it to Maria. She responded with a thanks. The intensity in the room was beyond what I could have anticipated. The couple moved together on the large bed, their exertion evident. Soft sounds of pleasure escaped from each of them as they shared the moment. What noises added to their moans of passion? The room was otherwise quiet. They had been engaged in their intimate session for over 2 hours, and their bond seemed to grow stronger with each moment. As their passion built towards their finale, their lips locked, tongues wrapped and teased each other. Hand stroking and caressing skin became more urgent as their mutual needs heightened. Her eyes closed as she felt a wave of emotions, pulling him closer and holding him tight. The man smiled as he looked down at his conquest. He rammed it again and again. He wanted to make this moment unforgettable for her, showing his deep affection. She bit her lip as she held on to him, his hips moving like a piston. Her body filled with her own orgasm as she felt him bringing her to another almost simultaneously. Her entire being was overwhelmed with sensations. He held her close. She gasped as she felt it, then her eyes wide as she looked at him, realizing they had taken another step in their intimacy. He leaned over and kissed her, hard and passionately, as they both savored the moment. He collapsed on top of her as they both lay panting, sharing the post-orgasmic glow. Slowly, their breathing returned to something near normal as he rolled off her. They lay on the bed side by side, looking at the ceiling, each with their own thoughts. No words were necessary yet. I hunched over the small screen, watching impassively as the lovers lay back on the hotel bed naked. The machine was recording the scene for his client. I sighed as I watched the end of a marriage in the making. As old as I get, I still don't get why a woman who has everything wants to fuck her own life up like this. For fuck's sake, she is one stupid bitch. I sat back and tapped the text on his phone. Just one word: slut. He had sinned, and it was done. I watched the screen for the next act I knew was coming. My instructions were to stay recording until told to stop. I knew the husband of the well-fucked woman was going to enter the room any moment now. This was something I had advised him against, but Steve had been assured there would be no violence unless the fucker wanted to dance. That is, of course, in which case he would be defending himself. It was a risk, and he knew it, but I would have the action recorded, and there would be a copy for him if he required it for any reason too. Promptly, less than a minute later, as I watched the screen with the lovers still spread eagle naked on the bed, there was a tap on the room door. The man called out and was answered with a curt room service. In response, he appeared to sigh but got off the bed and wrapped a robe around himself. He tossed the duvet over his lover as she remained laid on the bed. The man watched as he approached the door. Showtime? I thought out loud to myself. As he opened the door, which was just out of shot on the screen, I could hear a muffled conversation, but I knew what was being said. My client had given me the gist of it, but I was still concerned at his reaction when face to face with the man who had made him a cuckold. I hope that my client will not be violent, but I was still nervous. The audio from the room grabbed my attention as I saw the woman suddenly sit up in the bed, wrapping the duvet around herself. I could tell from her body language that something was wrong. She was edging across the bed away from the direction on the doorway. Her lover came into view, backing slowly towards the bed as his legs hit the edge of the bed that slumped backwards and sprawled beside his lover, who was by now starting to cower and was repeating over and over, "No, no, no, it can't be. No, no, please, no." It was then that I saw the shining Walther PPK. Shit. I was too far away to stop whatever it was from happening now. I was glued to the chair, helpless. Don't fucking do it, man. Just don't fucking do it. I thought about my associate. Where the fuck was he? A feeling of dread filled me at the possibilities. The action in the hotel room was frozen as I looked on. The conversation was muffled, but the woman was now openly crying. The man sat with his arms up in surrender as Steve stood before the two of them. I listened in. "Okay, bitch. First of all, we are done. Over. Finito. Kaput. You understand me?" "No. No, it's not what it looks. Shut the fuck up unless you want another hole in your fucking face that fuckwad can shove his dick in." She cowered, shaking away from him. She had never seen him like this before. Then again, how many times had he caught her in bed with another guy before? His eyes bored into hers as she sat wrapped in the hotel duvet. Her lover got brave for a split second and made a move towards the Steve. A husband who had been praying for any excuse, he swiped the barrel across his head like lightning. The satisfying crack as the metal bounced off the side of his head brought a grim smile to the husband's face. The woman saw it and shuddered. Her scream startled him. He pointed the gun at her head, eyes wild. "Listen, bitch. I have everything I need to divorce your ass and ruin this motherfucker here already. The only thing I haven't taken care of yet is a fucking good beating for the two of you. Just don't give me more cause. Sit still and shut the fuck up." He paused as if trying to calm himself down. "I am not a violent man." He smiled as he waved the gun between the two lovers. Anyway, I have decided that you will both pay and pay dearly for your fuckfests. You bitch will not return to the house for any reason. There is nothing for you there, and I have no further need for a whore. All your possessions, such as they were, having been packed up and are on their way to your sister's address as we speak. You have no money, no credit cards, nothing. Understood? The woman just looked at him dumbfounded. Understood, bitch? He waved the gun at her again. Yes, I understand. But what about? She started. I don't need you to think or ask questions. If I think you need to know something, then I will tell you. Do you understand that? She nodded slowly, although many things were jumbled in her mind at the moment. She was as if in shock. The kids are fine, by the way. Thanks for asking. They know what a cheating whore their mother already is, so don't expect any sympathy from them. They have already seen you being drilled by this prick. I would give them a few years to calm down if I were you. They were rather upset when they discovered you and fuckwad here going at it here. Rebecca, dearest, they saw and heard you. That I cannot and will not forgive. Your total lack of respect for our marriage and our children is totally unforgivable. She gasped. A sob escaped from her throat as she put her hand to her mouth. She had no idea her children knew. The realization started her mind racing. She failed to notice how her husband had been seemingly preoccupied and busy because she was too busy scheming and thinking of herself and her lover. He stared at her, letting his words sink in. Oh, did I mention that? Fuckwad's wife knows all about the pair of you two? Well, that will be a nice surprise you can fill in your lover when he comes round. We have used the same legal team for our respective divorces, of course. Saves money that way. She gasped again as the moan from the floor signified her lover was coming round. There you go. Why don't you help him? After all you were in the shit together, maybe you can work something out. He laughed. I now breathed easier. I could tell the anger was under control even from here. That is, unless the fuckwad opened his mouth and said something stupid. On the screen, Steve looked towards the camera and smiled. That was the signal. Back on script. Thank fuck for that, he thought. Again, a tap text message was sent. I sat back and heaved a sigh of relief as I watched the screen again. There was a tap on the room door and a man walked straight in. He was wearing a long overcoat and a trilby hat. In his hand he had 2 large envelopes. He approached the woman first. Are you Rebecca Polson? She nodded sorrowfully before muttering, Yes, I am. Thank you. Ma'am, you have been served. He turned to her lover, who had managed to sit on the edge of the bed, now rubbing his head. Are you Jonathan Fuckwad? I beg your pardon. Sir, are you Jonathan Green? He nodded. Yes, damn it. That's me. He handed him a large envelope. You have been served, Mr. Fuckwad. The server turned and was gone in seconds. Steve Polson looked Jonathan Green in the eyes. He held his gaze, and Jonathan Green could feel the hatred. He shivered as he tried to look away from those gray eyes. They reminded him of a wolf. By the time you realize it, I will have fucked your life over big time. Your own wife will get her just deserts from you, but I will have mine soon enough, pal. You can take that to the bank. Your wife doesn't want you home. She has taken her children back to her parents, and as you know, her daddy has the resources to really fuck with your life. So, my man, there is no need for me to do jail time for you pair of cheating fuckers. I am going to leave you now. Have a nice life. And I am sure you will have some things to talk about together. So I will leave you 2 lovebirds to it. With that, he turned and left the room. The cheaters sat on the bed staring at the envelopes and the door, wondering what the fuck just happened. I heaved a huge sigh of relief but kept watching. Jonathan Green reached for his mobile and called his wife. That didn't go too well, as Rebecca Polson could hear the vitriol of the wronged woman's voice from where she sat in an almost catatonic state. Jonathan threw his phone across the room as he started to realize the repercussions had already started. He screamed at Rebecca Polson, who started to respond and screamed back at him. I watched the couple as they took it out on each other for the collapse of their respective lives. The bitch hung up on me. He screamed. He told you fuckwad. I stood up and refreshed my scotch on the rocks as the scene continued to play out behind me on the screen. Jesus, what a fucking day. Another happy couple hits the road. I sank the drink in one go. Watching scenes like this play out had been the bulk of my business for the past so many years, but this one was the most intense one. With this, my reputation for getting the goods on wayward spouses was well known. I was the best, but I still could not get used to celebrating the demise of another marriage. My memory started to play scenes in my mind of my own experience on discovering my wife with my own brother. I poured myself another as I recalled how that had not ended well either. I had not spoken to my brother since that day. My wife had tried to pass it off as a one-time thing. It was only sex, blah, blah, blah. I had heard it all in the years since then so many times. I couldn't get past it, forgive her or forget. I had just walked away, divorced her. Was that right for me to do? Hell yes. But by fuck, it hurt like hell and still did. Even after 15 years, it still hurt. I knew how Steve Polson was going to feel when he woke up alone in the morning. While there was the chase going on, it was a distraction from the actual pain of being alone in the future. I turned back and looked at the screen. The woman was alone, laid on the bed, sobbing. You stupid bitch. If you cared at all, you will be asking yourself why. Why? Why? Now your pain starts too. I reached over and turned off the machines and started closing things down. My mobile phone buzzed. I answered. Steve? You okay? You have me worried there for a while, my man. Yes, I have it all, and it will be ready for you tomorrow. See you then. Bye. Until next time.